Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're going to take a look at NFL action. It's opening week, guys. And I always like to ask you guys, first week of the season, if you have any handicapping tips for our viewers. And, we come out of the preseason. You're going to see some teams that look good in preseason, some teams that look like dog crap. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. But different coaches have different philosophies. How much do you put into preseason results? Brian, I'll start with you.
Well, what I do is I write down all the lines before any preseason games are being played for week one, and then I compare them to what they are now. Now, if they have been moving, is it because there's an injury? Basically, I want to know, I don't want to get the tail end of something where, like Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia's looked so good in the preseason, everybody right now wants to play Philadelphia. But then on the other hand, you have a Dallas team who did not care at all about the preseason, and nobody, at this point, nobody wants to back Dallas. Well, I know based on the lines that I might get extra value playing Dallas here.
Scott, your thoughts?
Just kind of from the preseason, I like to basically look at maybe what veterans do and just kind of brush it by the wayside if they're not coming off an injury as opposed to rookies. But a couple of veterans, and we're going to talk about one of those in another video for this weekend in the NFL, is Peyton Manning, who led no touchdown drives for the Denver Broncos in the preseason. And that might be a little bit of a red flag, where Tom Brady is not a red flag if he throws 18 interceptions in the preseason and no touchdowns. The reason it might be a red flag for Peyton Manning is because he's talked about having no more feeling in his fingertips. He's running a new offense that's more run-based than pass-based at his advanced age with Kubiak coming over. So that might be a little bit of a red flag where Tom Brady, I don't care if he throws 18 touchdowns or 18 picks in the preseason, matters nothing to me at all. I guess that's probably the best way for me to differentiate between certain veterans in preseason. One who's battling with a potential injury, one who's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at teams in the preseason that some coaches definitely just play to win preseason games. They don't care. And other ones, like you said, they don't. I remember the Buffalo Bills all those years with Marv Levy. Never cared about, but they were a playoff team every year.
Never cared about the Super Bowl, apparently.
Well, yeah, that too. Only those games right in the middle. All right, guys, I'm going to ask a question that's going to be asked 100 times this season, and we'll see what actually happens during week one when it counts. We saw a lot of people going for 2 points in the preseason, and the big debate is, okay, is that going to affect your handicapping? Me personally, I'll throw it out there. I'll start until I see if there's going to be a real pattern of them going for the 2 or not going for the 2. I'm just going to treat it as I do every other year. What about you guys?
Yeah, every team's going to be different. I think you have to have it on an individual basis. You treat it sort of like college football. Colleges had that ability. I mean, look at Oregon with Chip Kelly there. They always went for the 2 because they were always the better team, and it worked out really well for them. So we'll expect that to happen once again for the Philadelphia Eagles. But every team's going to be different. I'm just going to wait and let it happen and react to it.
I like how some people have said, well, will this affect your teasers or, with the key numbers? The key numbers are still always going to be the key numbers. 3, 4, and 7 are going to be there that you're going to look at.
Well, the problem is going to be when teams start going for 2 instead of the 1, it's going to throw that off. So it's going to be an interesting year for teaser players.
That's a wait and see.
Yeah.
I think you got to be a little bit more defensive and disciplined when it comes to playing teasers and see how things are going to go. But I think Brian hit it on the head. I don't handicap Oregon differently because they tend to go for 2 sometimes.
Right.
So I'm not going to handicap the NFL right now differently until we see a reason to do so. One of the things I tell people all the time, Marco, over these next few weeks, and it really starts kicking in around week 3, week 4, get used to making your own numbers a week in advance. So for instance, week 3 will be September 27th, the Sunday games. I'll be making my week 3 numbers on September 16th, the Wednesday, before week 2 kicks off. And then that keeps you from overreacting to teams that were maybe a little bit from what their norm is going to be throughout the season.
That's a great tip. And if you're not capable of making your own numbers, I'll give a plug to the Westgate here. They always put the look-ahead lines for the week before in the NFL. Jay Cornhay always does a great job down at the Westgate, and they've got a new sports book this year. A lot of new sports books around town. If you get to come to Vegas, check out all the remodeling. It's nice when one guy does it. You got to keep up with the Joneses.
Those TVs are nice, man.
Yeah.
I was in there. I had to meet up with Dave Tooley, our good friend Dave Tooley, on Sunday. Those screens, man, they'll light up half a city block.
And nice. You're out Red Rock area. Red Rock is pretty sweet right now, too. All right, guys, I hope this helps you guys with some tips for the upcoming NFL season. And be sure to check out all of our videos at WagerTalk.com. We'll cover all the weekend games. Just go to WagerTalk.com and click on the video podcast section.